Hi people, welcome to World Cinema Forum. Today it is the fourth installment of the podcast where we are talking about the best movies which have been adapted from the books. So let's begin. First movie on the list is Psycho, released in 1960. Alfred Hitchcock's 1960 film adaptation is very different from Robert Bloch's 1959 novel. Hitchcock brilliantly took a minor character from the novel, Marion Crane, and elevated her story into one of the greatest MacGuffins in film history, while reshaping the character of Norman Bates into something creepier and more dangerous than the alcoholic middle-aged version in the book. Both Bloch's novel and Hitchcock's adaptation are great, but it's the film that everyone remembers and not the book. The second movie on the list is The Silence of the Lambs, released in 1991. Jonathan Demme's adaptation is very close to Thomas Harris' novel in most aspects, but has two important additions, Jodie Foster and Anthony Hopkins. The performances by these two actors are so good, so memorable, and so viscerally convincing that they turned a dark, twisty thriller into a permanent pillar of pop culture. All you have to do is to speak the name Clarice with Hopkins' iconic inflections, and everyone knows what you are referencing. Definitely a must-watch, and I recommend it to you all. The next movie on the list is Metropolis, released in 1927. The relationship between Metropolis the film and Metropolis the novel is that both were written by Theo von Harbour, then married to the film's director Fritz Lang. It is quite unusual that Harbour wrote the novel more or less as promotion for the film. Harbour and Lang cut some of the material present in the novel that make it more science fantasy than science fiction. But more importantly, the stunning, still impressive visual style and design of the film are so powerful that many people today aren't even aware that there is a novel called Metropolis. The fourth movie on the list is Crazy Rich Asians, released in the year 2018. Kevin Kwan's endearing, satirical romantic comedy came out in 2013, and just 5 years later it was adapted into a sizzling motion picture directed by John M. Chu. The film was an immediate hit, capturing the intimacies, inner workings, and complex expectations in Singaporean high society. It earned several Golden Globe Award nominations and high praise from the critics, and of course, led to greater curiosity about the book itself. The next movie on the list is Breakfast at Tiffany's, released in 1961. The iconic adaptation of Truman Capote's dark savage novella remains a cultural touchstone. Capote's story of a woman trying to make glamour out of the wreckage of her life is touching, tragic, and ultimately beautiful. The film tones down the tragedy, the prostitution, and the queer undertones, ending on an uplifting note of romance, and yet each is powerful, memorable, and kind of genius. The sixth movie on the list is American Psycho, released in the year 2000. Bret Easton Ellis's brutal, horrific novel is a biting satire about the rampant greed and heartlessness that consumed parts of the country during the 1980s. The film investigates many of the same themes, but adds an element of dark humor that drives home the absurdity of all its characters. Both the novel and the film have polarized their audiences, but it's importantly impossible to deny their power. This is a movie which I will recommend you all to watch it at least once in your life. And once you watch it, please come back to tell us how you felt about this movie. The seventh movie on the list is The Perks of Being a Wallflower, released in 2012. In 1999, author Stephen Chbosky published his iconic story, soon to become a favorite for many young adults. Chbosky dreamed of adapting his book into a screenplay from the start. Over 10 years later, with the help of producer John Malkovich, writer-director Chbosky captured the book's difficult themes of drug use and broken friendship in a poignant film, loved by even the most devoted book fans. The source material is only enhanced by the all-star cast, which includes Emma Watson, Paul Rudd, Ezra Miller, and Kate Walsh. Next movie on the list is To All the Boys I've Loved Before, released in 2018. Jenny Han's staggering New York Times bestseller about sexuality, womanhood, and the strains of adolescence came to life in this touching Netflix adaptation. Within a week, the film was lauded as an instant rom-com classic, and fans called it one of the best books-to-movie adaptations. While the book version, To All the Boys I've Loved Before, ends on a searing cliffhanger, great for pulling readers into the sequel, but the movie borrows a few scenes from P.S. I Love You for the orchestra swell moment everyone loves in a good romantic movie. It is a must-watch for teenagers, I guess. Well, the ninth movie on the list is Jackie Brown, released in 1997, based on Rum Punch by Elmore Leonard. Quentin Tarantino's third film takes Leonard's excellent Rum Punch and makes it into a sly, subtle throwback film. Tarantino made one noticeable change, making the main character black, but is otherwise very faithful in his adaptation. And the result is a film that seemed underwhelming in the wake of Pulp Fiction, but has been reassessed as the modern classic that revitalized the careers of Robert Foster and legendary Pam Grier. The last movie on the list is Trainspotting, released in 1996. Trainspotting is a difficult read, literally, due to Irvin Welsh's use of thickly replicated Scottish accent and slang, which can render the prose initially hard to understand. Its use of a stream of consciousness point of view is also a challenge. The film manages to translate the spirit, tone, and feel of the book almost perfectly, while shaping it into a more traditional narrative supported by Danny Boyle's liberal use of surreal, dreamlike imagery and logic. And the end result is an accessible, entertaining adaptation of a very difficult novel. Well, that's the end of the video, guys. If you are liking the content that we are bringing to you, please subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon for further notifications. And spread the word and let the family grow. Thank you and goodbye.